Cauvery face-off is intensifying, and it's not just Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu. Within Tamil Nadu, it's Chief Minister Vijay versus the opposition, and the protest has taken a misogynist turn. At a protest being addressed by Udayanidhi Stalin, Chief Minister Vijay's fan pages have claimed that the DMK cadre was heard shouting "Trisha, Trisha" in the crowd. And according to them, Stalin Jr. paused, smirked, and moved on with his speech. The DMK feed, though, has copped out this bout. Stalin Jr. has called the Vijay government a government on reels with a dummy chief minister and joker mantris, saying as farmers shed tears in delta regions, which is completely dry, chief minister and mantris have been shedding tears in cinemas. Protests have intensified in Karnataka as well. Vijay government has meanwhile moved the Supreme Court against Karnataka, accusing neighbouring state of failing to release its share of Cauvery water in accordance with directions issued by the Cauvery Water Management Authority and the Cauvery Water Regulation Committee. Release of 3,500 cusecs of water for 15 days on a daily basis. However, according to the Tamil Nadu government, the inflow recorded at the Biligundlu between July 29th and August 2nd ranged somewhere between 158 and 550 cusecs on a daily basis. I'm being joined by Nandakumar, who's a political analyst, S.S. Sriram, who's a senior journalist, Pentapati Pullarao, who's a senior journalist as well, and Sandeep Aniruddhan, who's a social activist. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining me. Mr. Pentapati Pullarao, come in at this point. You know, it's such an emotive issue. This entire issue is so emotive. You have farmers who have already started protesting across Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And these protests are intense, they are high octave, they are emotive. You have farmers who are, rolling on the roads, they're covering themselves with the mud, digging pits and getting into the muds. And these are visuals that we often see whenever there is a weak monsoon, for that matter. But it's so crass that amid it all, two states, farmers on the brink, and you have Trisha, Trisha, Trisha being chanted.
Can you repeat the last sentence?
Amid all of this, amid a whole lot of political crisis, economic crisis, which is an emotive issue, you have chants of Trisha, Trisha in a protest. And a smoke.
I entirely agree with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, sir. Go ahead.
I entirely agree with you. It is crass, it is that and this, And I do feel sorry for the lady. But, I have to say something. She was brought to the fore. And I have admiration for Mr. Vijay. He won a spectacular victory. I'm not going to... My friend Mr. Nandakumar must have heard me say this many times. He won a spectacular victory. But he is the one who introduced her to the public through his social media. He is the one. And I am not saying the other side is doing right. I will not defend anybody's privacy being invaded. Once you make yourself public, it's going on in this country. This country is no different from any other country in the world. We have two Indias. One we are ahead of the West, and one we are behind India of 200 years ago also. Same thing goes on here. So while I find it's crass, yes, but life should have been kept private. You should keep things private. You can't post some things on social media. Of course, my friends will condemn me and say, that's bad behavior, that and this. I'm not going to contest that. But you brought it to the fore. You introduced her. Tell me I am wrong. You introduced her.
So, even if Vijay introduced her, for whatever reasons he did, that's his personal life. He has a right to that. I mean, imagine you have Udayanidhi Stalin addressing a protest. And it's so unfortunate that we have to be discussing this, because one would think that an issue like this would not boil down to what we're really discussing. But before we get on to other issues, this, I believe, is equally important. Udayanidhi Stalin is speaking, sir. He's a powerful man. He's a powerful man with political acumen. And he hears the word Trisha, Trisha. He didn't want to speak about it. He could pretend he didn't hear about it. He could have stopped it with his hands. He could have done any gesture. He just smiles and moves on speaking.
What did I say? I said that's the temper in the country. I'm not defending him. He's got people to defend himself. There are a lot of people who will defend him. Look at what happened at Jantar Mantar recently. What kind of videos came out about the Prime Minister or anyone else? What kind of crash shows went out there? That's the state of our country. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's the ethos we have now. There's a, no limits behavior is there in this country. I'm sorry that young lady has been brought to the fore, but keep things, keep private things private. That's my advice.
SS Sriram,
Once
quick
you make
response.
No, I am not surprised at all with this DMK's behavior. They have a legacy and they have proved their legacy. I mean, this is what they play. This is the cheap politics that they play. The kind of words they have used against Madam Indira Gandhi, the kind of words they have used against Madam Jayalalitha, the kinds of words they have used against, Kushbu. That is their standard. You have some of their ex-ministers speak so obnoxious that you as a woman will feel, even horrible to even listen to them. So I'm not surprised at all. That is their standard. That is the way they behave. I mean, what have these guys done for Cauvery? When the Cauvery Tribunal order was released, or when it was done, they were not notified in the Gazette at all for 5 long years during the so-called Indi, which was earlier called UPA government. Just because Madam Jayalalitha was there in the government of Tamil Nadu, they didn't want to notify the Gazette of that order. And these guys are talking about Cauvery water for the people of Tamil Nadu. Absolute political cheap game played by this DMK, which is an absolute anti-Tamil Nadu. Neither they have the interest to protect the interests of Tamil Nadu. They gave away the Jallikattu rights. They gave away the Tamil methane and other, in the Tanjavur belt. They gave away the Kachativu. They did not notify the Cauvery Water Tribunal to be gazetted. And this party has no local standing to speak for the rights of Tamil Nadu, which they have never been bothered about. They were only keen on the portfolios that they will get. They are only keen on the power that they will be in. They are not bothered about Tamil Nadu, and I am not at all surprised.
Pentapati
for
Pullara
this.
wants to come in.
Yeah, please.
See, I heard my friend, Kachativu was a national issue. I'm very proud a regional party in those days went along with this issue. I'm very proud. That's the way the party should behave. They wanted peace with Sri Lanka. The then Prime Minister requested them, you have to cooperate. They cooperated. It's the kind of thing we expect from everyone, Mr. Sriram. It's the kind of thing we expect from you or from me. That's all I wanted to say on that one point.
This is what the stand of and the nature of DMK. If you see, even in Karnataka, time and again, repeatedly, they have demonstrated the political solidarity in spite of their political differences. You see, even Mr. Somana, the Minister of State, has come in alignment with the Congress government in Karnataka. But in Tamil Nadu, DMK wants to have a separate political narrative. And this is how DMK has been betraying the people of Tamil Nadu for a very long time. And if you see, the Karnataka, based on this emergency meeting of CWRC, they have ordered to release 3,500 cusecs of water for the next 15 days from August 29, which is amounting to 4.56 TMC. And this is what the DMK government, there is a saying, haste is waste. Just to gain a name and just to make themselves popular, that they have gone on August 1st and filed a petition in the court. But today the state government has filed a petition seeking not only the release of this 4.56 TMC, but also the proportionate basis sharing. Because during the distress period, and whenever the monsoon fails, already the CWMA has given a formula based on the proportionate basis. How much ever is a percentage of rainfall is deficient, you reduce that much percentage and release the water based on the available source. So now, as you have rightly said, from August 29th to August 2nd, the Biligundlu, the water received in Biligundlu is just 158 to 500 cubic secs. And without understanding the legality and also the opportunity of getting more water from Karnataka, playing a political game, DMK
Yes.
is causing greater and severe damage to the farmers of Tamil Nadu. Because now in this affidavit, now the state government has positioned in all the four reservoirs, say
So are you
KRS,
saying
Kabini,
DMK is
Hemavati.
causing more trouble?
Yes, of course, because once when it comes to the right of a state, DMK or any party should stand aligned with the ruling government. That is what
So
the
while I'm
mature
going to take
people
your
will do.
political point, I'm going to take your political point and go forward. I am also asking all my panelists about what do they make out about protests that have turned misogynist. How do you look at that, sir? Trisha, Trisha slogans being raised during a DMK protest. And I want everyone to talk about that as well before we get into Cauvery and the protests of it all. Because apparently this
No,
was
this is
happening at
what
the
I
time
have
when...
Sneka, this is what I have told. This is the maturity of DMK. And where Trisa comes into picture when the Cauvery water is concerned, what policy is concerned. And this shows the maturity of the political party, and the principal opposition is DMK. And now, is this the time to take your political rivalry on TVK? Is this the time? Or is
Right.
this the time to stand in solidarity with the government to fight for the rights of the state and the state farmers? What is
Okay.
more important?
Sandeep, don't want to drag you into the political discourse completely, but since it is right at the thick of it, what do you make out of what's really happening year on year? This is scenes that repeat. Of course, not with what's happened with Trisha and Vijay. That's as unfortunate and crass as it gets. But what do you make out of what you are seeing possibly on repeat mode?
Yeah, firstly, I cannot comment on Trisha because I have no clue what it is. I don't know what the politics behind it is. But as far as water security goes, I think, as you rightly said, this is on repeat mode. So if this has been happening every year for the last few decades, there is something wrong about the way we are managing the resources. How is it none of our politicians understand that? How is it none of our scientists understand that? How is it none of our planners understand that? This is the crux of the issue, that we are walking blind. The entire administration, the government, center and state, we are not getting to the bottom of the issue. It's very funny, if you look at the figures, a bulk of, a lot of the Cauvery water claimed by Karnataka is for drinking, and majority of it is for Bangalore.
Right.
Bangalore is at an elevation of almost 1,000 feet above sea level. So basically, you're pumping water up over a steep incline. About 21 TMC is the allotment. You'll be shocked to know that 21 to 25 TMC is the rainfall Bangalore gets. And you know where that goes? It flows downhill. It goes to Tamil Nadu. It goes to Cauvery Basin. We used to have 2,000 lakes that used to hold that water in Bangalore. It used to recharge the groundwater. It used to be reused in our own city. Running behind this Cauvery water pumping scheme, because there was worldwide funds available and this contractor mafia and all, they built this big pipeline which works at 50% efficiency. Almost 50% of the water even gets wasted in transit. That is the kind of criminal projects that we undertake. And finally, Bangalore, only about half of Bangalore gets drinking water from Cauvery. The remaining are depending on groundwater, which is also depleted. It's gone to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 feet already. Bangalore will have a day zero very soon. And what is the government's response to it? It's not even talking about it. Instead, it is talking of more projects like Cauvery. The flow of water in the Cauvery River has dropped by 30% in the last few decades. People are not talking about that. Most of the water that fills up is only during monsoon, and that happens as flooding. You know why all of this
And
is
that's not
happening?
preserved either.
Yeah, that's because the entire catchment of Cauvery is destroyed. The same thing. Whatever is happening in the cities are happening even in the rural areas. We're destroying our greenery, we're destroying our wetlands. Therefore, the capacity of these areas to hold water has diminished. So whatever rainfall falls, it floods immediately and it causes floods. And after that, for the rest of the year, you have shortages. You have them in the river basin, you have them in cities like Bangalore, which are dependent on this. How do we solve this? If we don't go back to the basics and correct our system, our ecosystems, we are not going to solve it. Is there any discussion on correcting our ecosystem? Anywhere in the entire spectrum of debate? It is doable, but nobody is talking about it. Because there is so much myopia in terms of understanding what the problem is, what should be done about it. how to figure it out. Nobody is talking about sustainable solutions anymore. It's all about politics. It's about posturing. It's all about contracts. There's this huge mafia which just wants to build pipelines and dams.
Right.
Nobody wants to solve the real problem. No, they were going behind that. There is another near Sharavati. That river they will.
Right.
There's some particular dam they want to build. I'm forgetting the name. Yeah, Yetinahole again, and they're destroying the forest and the river for that. So, what is repeating is all the mistakes we've done in the last 100 years. We've done those mistakes. We haven't learned. In the West, they're decommissioning dams, saying it's not a feasible solution. Dams are a wrong solution. Here, we are building more of them. And whatever exists is diminishing, yet we are fighting over the water that remains.
Nandakumar, come in at this point, Nandakumar.
Yeah, just before coming to this latest point, I wanted to counter Mr. Pullarao's point because he was talking about Kachatti. It was the central government and state has to cooperate. I would like to remind him the place called Tin Bigha in West Bengal, which was being negotiated with Bangladesh to provide a corridor, which is a space of 178 by 85 meters, small place. That time also the ruling government in West Bengal was Congress and the central government was also Congress. But because of the farmers, the state government of Congress was fighting with the central government Congress, and they have not given up their corridor, that Tin Bigha. It took almost 20 years for the government to settle. That is called fighting for the state's rights and also fighting for the rights of the farmers, not like immediately handing over the Kachatti.
But the problem
central
is,
government
no, I don't want this to be getting digressed. I don't want to get this digressed. But the point is, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they have been fighting for their respective rights for a century. And no government has been able to show the spine to come out with a solution that's workable. Every time the chief ministers met, they went away without a discussion because there could not be a solution that could come into it. In today's day and age, if there cannot be a solution which an expert team can come about with, then it's a shame on the political ruling establishment.
Because now if you see, the only amicable solution is possible through legal way.
Not
and
necessarily.
Also, even Mr. Vijay, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, no, I'm finishing my point.
Sure.
In spite of that, Mr. Vijay, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, has initiated to have a talk with Mr. CM of Karnataka, which was even criticized by DMK. So, even when the activist was speaking about what is the other solution, even in 61-62 itself, Mr. Kamarajar has proposed an alternate solution called Rasi Manal project, which will not make thousands of hectares of agriculture land or the sanctuary to get submerged because of this Megatadu dam. And it will be very much benefiting. And even in this Karnataka, everybody is understanding the drinking water problem of Bangalore. That is why even in the Supreme Court also 4.75 TMC was reduced from Tamil Nadu's kitty to provide drinking water to the global city of Bangalore. So it doesn't mean that nobody understands the drinking water problem of Bangalore. But Karnataka wants to have their domination over the Cauvery water by constructing a Megadadu dam at the throat of Cauvery. That is what we are against. Why don't you consider the Rasi Manal project, which is highly advantageous for both the states?
Which was a solution given in 60s?
Current requirement.
Correct me if I'm wrong. A solution that was given in
60. Yes,
in
62 itself.
And we're talking about 2026,
during Mr. Kamarajar's period.
And we cannot come out with another solution. We need
Yes.
So this is not a matter of great pride, sir. Science has evolved, solutions have evolved, technology has evolved, plans have evolved, policy makers have evolved. Why do we stick to something which is decades and decades and decades and decades old? Makes no sense,
Because the root of Cauvery is one and the same.
Cauvery is one and the same, but the ways of looking at it has and can change.
You need not, Sneka, you need not to invent a wheel
I'm
time and
Sneha,
again.
though.
There is already a wheel proposed. There is already a wheel discovered by someone else. Why are you not exploring that opportunity?
So here's the thing, from the 60s to 2026, governments have come and gone, governments have changed, and I have been saying something very different from the last 1 week. You have two chief ministers who are quote-unquote young, who have a crisis-fighting mindset, who can look at things very differently. Why these two can't come about doing what they can do is my very simple question. And I do not think a solution that was found in 1960s can really hold ground in 2026. I do think that there could be panels and committees which can look at it differently with more solutions and more cooperative measures. That's my understanding, sir. Times have changed.
So, Snega, I think you have not gone through the Rasimanal
I
proposal.
did.
If time permits, you please
I
go through
did.
that. And if there is anything which you are disagreement with that, then you come out with the specific points why you are not finding this Rasimanal as an alternate idea.
Sir, you still are not getting it.
And again,
you still are not
fighting for
getting it.
the
You
right
still are not getting my point, sir. Pentapati
Hold on,
Pullarao,
Snega, hold
come
on.
in at this point.
Hold on,
Do you
allow
agree
me
that
to
in
make my point.
2026,
Fighting
the
for
solution
right
can be
what
only
Tamil Nadu
one,
is having
and
in
that's a
Cauvery
plan of the
because of that of finding an
1960s?
alternate.
Mr.
You
Pullarao.
cannot give up the rights in the
You
name of
see,
finding an
I
alternate.
agree. I agree. Times have changed. All of that. There are new solutions across the world to get water. You know, Singapore gets all its water from Malaysia, and they have a hostile relationship in the middle for 20 years. You know, there's so many imaginative things that can be done, but they're not doing it. I agree with you what you said. The politicians of both the states, they're very, very hesitant to try to do anything of this nature because they really have no, may I say, some stamina. And you know, I can honestly tell you, if they take a stance to get a solution, it won't hurt them in the elections. Nobody remembers all of this. If you remember, at one time they talked about Sri Lankan Tamils here or in Karnataka or something. They didn't matter in elections. They don't matter. All this hype means nothing. There are solutions. And as you mentioned, in one way I disagree with you. The 1924 agreement, when the British were there between Madras and Mysore, it was a very idealistic arrangement. And unfortunately, my friend in Karnataka, Mr. Sandeep, 1974, you rejected it. You rejected it. That was a workable, very nice agreement. So it does depend a lot. You know, I may be partial. You know, Tamil Nadu is a down state, riparian state. They have certain rights. Because Karnataka is an upstate, it is using its position, which is not correct. Tamil Nadu has riparian rights, and those riparian rights are not being honored. The central government naturally doesn't want to take sides because it feels it will lose something. But in the longer term, what I have ever observed, these issues don't matter in elections.
Okay. Okay, very quickly, S.S. Sriram, respond, please.
See, first of all, Karnataka obviously have to, agree to the Cauvery Water Management Tribunal Award, which is the first, and foremost.
It's not. It's not as if in the past they have not agreed. It's not unprecedented.
No, I mean,
it's happened in the past as well.
No, not when the water was sufficient. The overflowing of waters cannot be the excuse. When we need water, when there is a need for water. That is my only request. But having said that, both the politicians in both the states have been playing politics with it. As Sandeep rightly mentioned, quite a few reservoirs have vanished in Karnataka where they could have, stored the water. So should be Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu should have put their minds for a better water management, especially to desalinate or delist the Mettur Dam, where they could have deepened it, where they could have sold the sands commercially and could have helped store water better. Both the state politicians are playing with the sentiments and the lives of farmers. I think there needs a mind, as you rightly mentioned, and Mr. Sandeep, that all stakeholders have to sit together. And after all, water is a national asset. It is not a state asset. It is a national asset. And all of us should sit together. And after all, we are two states of the same country. We are not two different countries. When two different countries can manage water, why not two different states within a country? I think we all have to sit together and find a solution which is possible.
Mr. Sandeep,
the politicians
a minute to you, your last words. In fact, I always, whenever we discuss Cauvery, there's one thing I keep repeating, and that is everybody loves a good drought.
Actually, some CMs have lost their positions because of drought. But anyway, see, the ultimate solution, Sneha, is if we get experts, not just experts, you need to get ecologists. You need to get environmentalists on any panel that addresses this issue. Because if you don't understand ecology and environment, you cannot solve this problem. all these, the experts the government depends on are engineers and hydrologists and all that. But they basically understand plumbing, okay, water in, water out. They don't understand the ecology and how water supply can be sustainable. Until we get there, we cannot solve this problem. In fact, if we get the solutions right, most of the cities don't need Cauvery's water. Actually,
Right.
Bangalore doesn't require Cauvery's water. We are getting almost 20 to 25 TMC of water through rainfall. If we can re-engineer the city to hold the water
That's a
here,
very, very interesting point to really
so then
take
you
it.
take the water from Cauvery, and if you recycle the water here, it will double.
All right,
Singapore, mind you,
I think the governments are in the thick
Recycle
of this, and the governments need to listen. There are solutions,
Absolutely.
and times have changed. A whole lot of solutions and experts are around. It's just for the governments to really reach out and look beyond what traditionally would be the spectrum to deal with an issue like this. Nandakumar, S.S. Sriram, Pentapati Pulla Rao, Sandeep Anuruddhan, thank you very much for joining us.